So first of all, thank you very much for being here. I know it's a very busy period because with Christmas coming, the Game Awards and everything. So thank you very much. Also, Nick, I've seen that you've been in Florence recently.
I've been in Florence. Are you stalking my Instagram?
Yeah, yeah, my job.
Yeah, we have Florence, Rome. We did a whole tour. Yeah, that sounds
because I'm from Florence, so.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, we love Florence. Florence is awesome.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
no, probably. I was surprised that I liked Venice as much as I did, but Florence is probably number one, number two. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to steal a lot of your time, so I'll just go down with the questions. Maybe I think is a question for both of you, but maybe more for Nick. So Dispatch is really a great comeback for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of devs, a lot of people involved in previous games and something like this. What did you learn about this story, and what was the big lesson of coming back on what you were doing best and having such a huge success, because Dispatch is a success?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the story of AdHoc and Dispatch is, I mean, we started the studio knowing that there was, or feeling in our bones that there was an audience for the types of stuff that we were doing at Telltale. But we knew that there was kind of like, there were more people who were who were interested in what we would do, but they would see kind of like, there'd be things that were keeping them away, right? They'd look at it and they'd say, oh, the fidelity of this isn't quite there for it. I'm really interested in the story, but for something about it feels too much like a video game. And maybe I wish it looked a little bit more like television. And then there'd be other people who the gameplay would be too difficult or not their style of game. And so the kind of hypothesis for Dispatch was like, how can we remove all these barriers of entry for a lot of people to be able to enjoy these interactive stories? Because we think everybody, if the story's great, giving people agency over that is only better. So that was our like idea. It took 7 years kind of to build that and to find the right partners who would help us make that idea a reality. But it's, I've been at Telltale for 10 years. So we had been slowly kind of like cooking up, like, what if we did this, or what if we added this, like a specific gameplay element that married well with the story and all these things. So it's been a long time coming, and happy that it's a success, but we weren't sure. It was really like the audience had to show up and support us for us to know.
Maybe also publishing all the episode very, very compact, very tight would be, it's easier to remember all the character and remember the story and being passionate about them.
That's right. Totally. Yeah, that was a big pivot too from how Telltale used to do it. Yeah.
All right. Erin, about Blonde Blazer and about the cast and the character, did you expect this kind of reaction? Because maybe it's my bubble. My Instagram is full of edits about Blonde Blazer, Invisigal, and Malevolent and everybody. So did you expect this kind of affection for the characters?
I mean, yes and no. Yes, in that I've always been very vocal with Nick and the AdHoc team that I've been a 100% invested, full-on believer. I knew this game was going to be a hit. I knew people were going to fall in love with these characters because they're so well crafted, and the game looks and sounds and is written and shot amazingly. So in that regard, yes, I had full faith that AdHoc would deliver. Would make me look good, I'll say. And then in terms of the it was kind of a journey to go on watching everyone's reactions to Blonde Blazer in real time throughout the episodic release. I had heard that during play tests, people were gravitating towards Blonde Blazer, but that was early on when people had access to, I think, 4 episodes, so they could just play all 4 at in one go. And so I went into launch feeling quite confident. And then week 1, episodes 1 and 2 drop, and people had a very visceral reaction to Blazer's alleged infidelity, emotional emotion. She doesn't kiss him. He kisses her.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. I know.
The
Believe me.
emotional infidelity that may or may not be happening was fascinating to watch. And I was so invested in socials watching people hate on Blazer or like go to bat for Blazer. It was wild. And then of course I knew what was coming. I knew that I could get some people back in 4. And then seeing that happen, but then, you know, Laura as Invisigal just like turns up the dial and just gets everyone back on her side.
Yeah.
Shaking my fist at her. But yeah, it was really cool. It was really awesome. And it was a thrilling roller coaster ride to witness the player base kind of go on, learn about Blazer in real time and have their opinions change. And
it's something I don't think like I'm sure it existed in some form, but I've never seen this happen in games, at least in recent memory. Like, because of the episodic releases, seeing the audiences sort of debate and like make cases for what they think should be happening in the story, and that having an impact on people actively playing the game. Like, people weren't playing the game in a bubble by themselves. I mean, obviously some people were, but like a lot of people were online discussing this stuff. And sort of campaigning for what they believe to be, you know, the correct way to play, and that literally changing how people play. You know, it's fascinating because we never saw anything like that at Telltale. This is the first time we'd ever really seen that.
Yeah,
it was usually is the approach of a TV series. Usually you see these people being a fan of this character of the other character and debating, okay, this is fine, this is not fine. I hate them, no, I love them, I love her, blah blah blah.
Right, but there's nothing they can do about it because it's already, the show's already shot. It's already, you know what I mean. They just have to tune in next week. But for this, they literally could do, you know, they could have their hands on controllers.
Yeah, and also I think that Blonde Blazer is another very well-rounded character because she's not perfect. Yeah, I mean, you see this superhero type that does the right thing, perfect on the job, and blah blah blah. But you see their infidelity. She's not perfect. She's trying to dealing with things. She's healing. Yeah.
No, and that's been a big thing too. As you know, people get emotionally invested in these characters. They, you know, when someone like Blonde Blazer or Invisigal does something they disagree with, it's very emotionally upsetting to them. And it's, but the thing that a lot of people have a hard time coping with is they are just people. They are going to do things. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to do things. They're not the player character. They're going to make their own decisions, and they're going to behave kind of true to who those characters are. Like Invisigal is a villain. People are rooting for her, but she's going to let you down. She's going to do things that you don't want her to do, that you disagree with. And that comes with the territory. So you can get emotionally invested in that, but you're also putting yourself at risk at being hurt or, you know, having to cope with this imperfect person. So it's been interesting watching people's reactions to that stuff.
Yeah, if I can speak to that from an actor's perspective, what is kind of thrilling between Invisigal and Blazer, both having their strengths and their very obvious weaknesses, if you can call them that, their flaws. You know, I feel like in the history of video games, the roles available to women have kind of gone on this weird journey of, you know, in the early aughts, it was maybe a little skewed to the like sexualized damsel. And then we went through a hard course correction, I think, for the better to explore how a woman could be strong and capable.
They maybe went a little too far.
And then I think we got stuck for a little bit where we started to see a lot of we were scared to let female characters like be messy and be fuck ups and be human. So something I've always admired about the AdHoc team, even when they were at Telltale, is that they were willing to explore like what a woman could be in every aspect, like not just
someone who's goofy, someone who's, you know, whatever, sloppy, makes mistakes, tripping on things, right? Things that you don't normally associate. Like you can make, like Ryan Gosling can do that, and it's funny. But then you put it in the hands of an ingenue, and now it's like, you know, people bristle.
Yeah, that's fine. Regarding the interpretation and the writing of the character, there was any room for maybe any improvisation or something like that came to mind just while you were doing the script or were doing the the voices or something like this, or was very, very tight?
Yeah, I have the boring story of that. I really didn't have much opportunity to improvise, mostly because, spoilers, Blazer's not involved in a lot of the gameplay dispatching, where I think a lot of the improv probably happened.
Yeah.
Because it's not animated, so people can be a bit more free. I mean, she just pop in at the end, but again, at that point, she's like fully locked in. It's all about, saving her city, less about the gags. But
yeah, maybe not Erin, but our team or the cast had a lot of, during those dispatching sequences, we gave them a lot of freedom to to build and improvise, and it really comes down to the actor. Some people really don't like to improv. Some people, you can't stop them, like they're so fast and funny. So
is that Lance?
Yeah, Lance who plays Flambe's, half of his lines are improv,
good.
basically.
Yeah, get me every time.
But yeah, Blazer not so much. Yeah.
Okay. As a blonde Blazer, do you like the character from the start, or maybe you wish that you have been assigned to another role? I don't know. Was any immediate connection to it, and also to Nick, which is the character that you like the most?
Well, I have to say blonde Blazer on this call.
Yeah, you have
right.
to, but
Yeah,
you can say the one as
Not
a
just
second
on this call, on every call, right?
Yeah. That's how.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I've spoken about it before, but I had kind of a weird casting journey with this, where I started doing Blazer just for like a quick vertical slice that they were pitching around, and then I did some scratch for Invisigal, and then I was talking to Pierre, and he was just like, I think you're a better fit for Blazer. Which at that point was being voiced by Laura Bailey. And so we did kind of a swap where Laura's the most capable and incredibly amazing voice actress in games. And so they knew she could do anything they threw at her. So they put her on Invisigal, and boy, was that the right move, because she really knocked it out of the park. And then I got moved on to Blazer, where I think everyone, including myself, felt like this is like kind of the
comfortable.
This is the match, like the not just like my vocal quality, but also kind of my personality that I infuse into Blazer. As Pierre would say, the dorkiness, the goofiness, but also I think kind of that like that warmth and that the capable yet flawed is something I love to play. So yeah, I have no regrets, and I'm very happy with being able to bring Blazer to life.
Yeah, I truly think both Erin and Laura could have played the opposites. Like we recorded most of the game, I'll say, with Laura as blonde Blazer and with Erin as Invisigal. It was kind of out of necessity because we had to start doing animation and doing stuff, and but really it was just, we wanted to push further. We wanted to push harder on sort of Invisigal's sort of like bite and just the kind of like the rough edges of Invisigal, and we wanted to push harder on Blazer's warm, goofy, like, I don't know, the sort of like softer sides. And in our heads, we could immediately see it, if like Erin just crushing that, and we could immediately see Laura crushing Invisigal. I bet they both could have also just done. It was kind of like we were in such a great position where we had these great actors, and who were also willing to kind of like explore and do and like experiment with us. So no doubt they could play anything. They could play every character in the game if we wanted them to. But yeah, so they were both so cool to be able to do that with us, because it's also hard to like emotionally invest in one character for a period of time and then throw it all away and then just get into the headspace of a new character. So we're fortunate that we had such a great cast.
Yeah, but you didn't answer my question. Which one you prefer? Not only between Invisigal and blonde Blazer. All around. I know you want Flambe. You were saying Flambe, right?
I love Flambe. I mean, if you're asking me like who my favorite character is, Flambe. Anytime he's on screen, anytime I hear anything, Lance is so funny. He's the one who brings me the most joy, I'll say.
Yeah. Also another character that was interesting to watch in real time throughout episodic play, because people hated him in the
people
early
really
episodes,
don't
and
like
I was
him.
so mad because I was like, "Don't you see how funny he is?" And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
they got him at karaoke. So
It is interesting. If you make someone a villain or make someone a bad guy, people don't like them. Like just
yeah,
outright, they refuse to like them, even if they're charming, even if they're funny. But well, yeah, and I thought you were gonna say that because Flambe, we hadn't cast, but we had to start storyboards and we had to start animation with Scratch voice. So we started animating him in episode 1 with one of our writers had done like a Scratch performance. And so we were animating against that. And so when we got Lance, very specific voice. Like he's got a personality, like he's playing an Afghani character who the character at the time wasn't. So we didn't have any of the sort of like the flourishes or the sort of the flamboyant personality. So we had to. So if you look at it, I see it. I don't know if anyone else does it. When I look at episode 1, that Flambe is different than like episode 5 Flambe, just like based on animation.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of this stuff we found as we were in the middle of development.
I mean, Dispatch is a great story also because it takes all the tropes about superheroes and I don't know, losers and all this kind of story that we know about, but tries to subvert or maybe also write around them with lovable character. Which was the main inspiration for the story?
I don't think of maybe
If you had one, maybe you just go straight and your subconscious just put it in the
yeah, no, not at all. No, I mean, I'm a director. Our Pierre Charette is the lead writer and narrative director. We spent a long time working on this. So we spent the first iteration of this was for a live action thing. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
That version of it was a little bit more depressing, a little bit like SDN was like not a happy place to work at. It was very like dark and dim and like, that's kind of where the like sort of old technology came from. So if you look at SDN now, there's like old computers and stuff. That kind of came from that era. But Robert was like drinking himself to sleep every night. Like it was like a very sad place. And what happened is we went into the pandemic, that got shut down, and we were all really sad. So what started happening was we were like, we're working on this thing, and it's like it's such a bummer like to work on. So like, why don't we make this something that people enjoy, experiencing? Why don't we like have this be a little bit brighter? And so we started sort of like looking at things like Ted Lasso was a big inspiration.
That's a totally good vibe.
Yeah, like bringing the team together. I mean, that's a very clear inspiration, I think. Things like the HBO show Barry, which is a comedy, but it can be dark, it can be serious. It deals with like mental health issues, and so we knew there was like an edge there. We were just there's like a new season of this show called Slow Horses. I don't know if you've heard of Slow Horses. Yep. Okay, cool. That's got a ragtag team of people working in like a crappy thing. So there's a lot of this stuff that because we were doing this for so long, we were sort of seeing things in media and able to kind of like pluck and get inspired by. But I mean, ultimately, it's just everything that myself, Pierre, and Dennis, who are the creative leads on the project, everything we've ever done has been kind of like Wolf Among Us. It was the first project the three of us worked on. We weren't fans of Fables. It was a comic. I'm not a big comics guy. I had to sort of get invested in it, but we took a thing that we didn't really know much about or have an affinity for and turn it into something that we could get excited about. So like the neon noir, like, Drive had just come out. Everyone was excited about, that sort of that aesthetic. Tales from the Borderlands. I wasn't a huge Borderlands fan, but we tried to like figure out what makes this interesting to us and like basically just make something we want to watch, Similar with Dispatch, it was like the genre of superheroes. I'm not a huge like superhero person. I watch all the Marvel movies. I consume this stuff. But how do we make something that we can get excited about? And so that's kind of always our approach. And I think if you're just a pure superhero fan, I'm curious what those people think of Dispatch, because it's kind of the second priority. Like, we're making a story about people in an office, and they happen to be superheroes, you know. And so then it's like, how do we take advantage of their powers or of that setting? But really, it's a story about people, you know, and that's what we're focused on, which I think makes it feel different than a lot of superhero media. But I don't know. We kind of just make this shit up as we go. So
nice. So, Erin, you've done a lot of voice work and all kind of things in video games. I think it's always the same. I mean, you just go in the booth and just do your lines, or something's change in the time being, or maybe something's changed during Dispatch because maybe it was a different kind of work respect to other time you've played other characters.
Yeah, there's so many factors that change how a session goes, depending on the script. Dispatch was unique in that I was allowed to read the script ahead of time. That is such a rarity in games, but allows me, yeah, it's very common to show up, you get a spreadsheet, you don't know the context of your lines, you don't get to read them beforehand. It's all cold reading. It's a skill you develop, and it's a fact of the job, and you just go with it. But then there's these moments where you really get to dig into not only your own character, but understand the world of the game, and how your character fits into it. And that's so helpful. And then also we are directed by Nick in the booth, who is not just the developer who knows this world better than anyone else could, but he used to be an actor. So he's like the best of both worlds in that he knows how to speak to us in the booth, give us the information we need, but also relay it in a way that is actors are very delicate people, and he knows how to work with us in a way that I think brings out the best work. But this was also a unique experience. Like we said, there were some moments where animation had to kick off before the voice actors were either cast and or had before Laura and I swapped. So like in episode 1, I am dubbing over animation that was done to Laura's performance. And then I think by episode 2, maybe there were storyboards, but I had a little bit more.
The conference room is still a dub, but then everything after the conference room.
After that. Yeah. So, I mean, that was unique. There are a lot of localized games that come from Asia or elsewhere where I am dubbing, but it was very specific lip flappage to align with here for Dispatch early on. So there were a lot of elements that made Dispatch a unique experience, but all of them were, it is an actor's dream to work on a project like this and work with a team like this. So very special in that regard as well.
Because you also have the time to read all the script all together with the other.
We didn't get to do like a table read or like we didn't have like,
I mean, something to build the chemistry between you.
Yeah, I mean that's all on them. That's their job, is to kind of get these voices to be in a place. I mean, it's our job to generate chemistry with a person who doesn't exist in the room with us, but it is their job to kind of build a cast that has that level of synergy. And I think they really nailed it personally.
Yeah. Okay, couple more questions. Nick, regarding the dispatch game, I mean the real game we have to dispatch you, did you introduce it because you need something also to make it a game, a real game, or just how did it come from?
Yeah, one of the things, because I worked at Telltale for 10 years, and you kind of get a lot of that stuff was like the same sort of like ideas, right? Same formula, especially post Walking Dead. We kind of found a thing that had worked, and we were doing that over and over again. And one of the things that we didn't want to do was have a bunch of gameplay that nobody cared about, or stuff that felt like it was like no one was passionate about walking around clicking on stuff. It's kind of the old school adventure game stuff. Where you're like picking things up and, sometimes using those items, sometimes they just disappear into your backpack. And so no one was really passionate about that. And it was slowing down the pacing of the story. it kind of felt like it just felt like a requirement that no one was rooting for. So we knew we were going to extract that out. But we also felt like there was an opportunity to find something that actually felt like it enhanced the story, felt like it was like married to the story, and that we could also make fun. Like we're also thirsty for like fun gameplay. Like we've been making games that hadn't really, like, that wasn't why people bought them. So that was just on the list of things we wanted to do. We had a lot of other prototypes, did other ideas and things that just never made the cut. But eventually, once we had this idea of a team, because for a long time it was like you're dealing with like one person. So Invisigal, you're like mentoring Invisigal. And then once we had the idea that there'd be like a roster of heroes, then it became like, okay, well, how do you dispatch? Like, what if the show is called Dispatch, or the game's called Dispatch? Like, what does that even? You have to do the job. So then that's when we started realizing, like, oh, what if you had a team and you could send them around? And then we started iterating on that, and it was like, oh, now we have to do this, right? So we're different in that we're a company and a team of people that thinks about like what story do we want to tell first, and then it's like, okay, what gameplay makes sense to go with that. And basically most game studios are the exact opposite, right? They figure out the gameplay and then they have to go, okay, now how do we tell a story? So we just kind of approach it all backwards, and we get something like this, and I think it worked. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Okay. I was looking at the Game Awards right now. By the way, I voted for you, but it wasn't enough. Sorry.
Yeah. Player's voice. Come on, we might.
Yeah, player's voice
Okay.
also.
Yeah.
And I also voted for your performances and voice performances, but wasn't enough, I think, because I was in the jury. I see a lot of games coming from people that maybe was before rejected by the industry. You see Expedition, you see also Dispatch. A lot of people that was I rejected, maybe is not the right word, but they didn't fit in the classic mainstream video game, which has been around for the last 10 years. So big games, game as a service, something like this. But we see now this, what you've done, what other people have done, has finally become something valuable. Because do you think that maybe after a lot of years, both of you can share your opinion, after maybe 10 years, gaming industry is coming to another age when the talent is recognized again, instead of just we need to make a lot of money doing the same thing over and over again? Yeah, I don't know. You just tell me your perspective.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously our experience is that of success, and I think you could point to Dispatch and say, as an example of people care about great writing in games, great stories, different types of experiences that we don't have to sort of like copy paste like the same kind of things over and over again. But I also know it was really freaking hard, man. Like it was really hard. Our studio almost died 5 times to get here, and so I imagine there are probably a lot of games we didn't see that should have come out that just didn't make it. It's not that there isn't talented people out there trying. It's just that it's such a tough industry to do anything new inside of, and we only had a shot because we were ex-Telltale. If we were nobodies, even if we had the exact same skill set, so much of even getting here was people trusting that we could replicate something we had done in the past as writers and directors. So if you don't have that, it's even harder. So I think, I hope that we're an example that people can point to in those pitch meetings when they're taking, when they're in, hotel rooms with PowerPoint presentations and demos. I hope we can at least help those folks, but I think it's still going to be some time before you shake the people who can make those decisions. Like, and they need more proof. This isn't enough proof. Like, we're going to need to keep doing this and keep chipping away at the industry to prove that this stuff is valid. And the tough thing with that is people are going to make mistakes. Certain games are going to come out that look similar to like maybe Dispatch or Expedition 33, and they're not going to succeed. And then that'll be pointed at as like, see, that's dead, or like that was a one-time thing. So I think it's just about resilience, and people need to create things that they're passionate about. And, you know, hopefully that reaches the audience. But I don't feel like we're entering into a new era where everything's going to change. But I am hopeful. I am hopeful that at the very least, gamers and like the audience continues to show up for things that are different. Because as long as that keeps happening, and it doesn't need to be perfect. Play games that are 75 on Metacritic. That's gonna be a good game. You're gonna get something from that. It doesn't need to be
totally.
90, right? So people need to keep taking risks as developers as well as consumers. You know, they need to go out there and try new stuff too.
Yeah, I think to speak to your point, Lorenzo, about how competitive the Game Awards were this year. I mean, I agree that Dispatch was snubbed in many a category, but I mean,
it was the timing. It was the timing. Just
I know, yeah.
That's what the BAFTAs are for.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, like Hades 2, Silk Song, Expedition 33, like and Dispatch, those 4 games all being indies and of varying degrees, but like the traction that they've had this year, it's so incredible to see how many games, like Nick was saying, that were made just pure passion. These are developers making the games they want to play and they want to consume as gamers. It like people are saying like it was such a great year for gaming, and I just hope that people learn the lessons. Like Nick was saying, it might take a while, but hope we learn the lessons that it was a great year for gaming because we allowed people to make the games they wanted to make rather than the games that some C-suite think is going to deliver on their investment. You know, we'll see.
I mean, we did think that it was going to deliver on our investment.
That's right. Yes,
So,
of course.
Just want to get that a little bit clear. Yeah.
Okay, last question, an easy one. Favorite scene of Dispatch, the single of the most.
Oh,
Well, it's not easy, but
I'm gonna let Erin go first.
oh, that's rude. Shoot. I mean, there's so many. I think my favorite bits are like these like tiny moments. Rather than like I mean, obviously the big fight in episode 8 I didn't see until everyone else saw it live, because I had seen it storyboarded and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I see the vision. But once you saw it all animated, it was like, oh my god, this is so cool. But like what comes to mind are these just like sweet little like tender moments, like I love when Robert is laying on the ground talking to Beef, I want to say episode 6, and Erin does this like adorable shift into like speaking to a dog voice, and
get all fucked up.
Yeah, I get all fucked up, and it's just like a beautiful acting choice, but also is animated perfectly. The delivery of that Thought Squad did in that break room scene about like, I never had a dad. And then Malevola being like, I know, fuck does that mean? And then her like, oh, when she realizes, oh, you told me once that you didn't have a dad. And she goes, oh. And the delivery on that is just so pitch perfect. Again, all of Lance's lines are like, I could hear them 20,000 times and I will still laugh at them. Same with Joel Haver's performance as Waterboy. It gets me every time. It's just so many, just like, they catch me off guard even though I know they're coming, and they're very delightful.
Yeah, scene is hard. I don't know. I think the first thing I didn't work on it, so it's easier for me to like feel appreciation for it. Is episode 6, the when Chase and Robert are on the balcony talking about like it's kind of like a you know, it's the lull before a big moment. And yeah, I think both Aaron Paul and Jeffrey Wright's performances are really great. I think it's written really well. And it's just a nice, I think it's a moment that catches you off guard, and I think we're a lot of fart jokes. We're a lot of crude humor. But when the story and the writing and the performances come together to kind of give you something like emotionally, touching or things that kind of remind you that there's heart in the story and these characters, like those moments I think are really special and core to what make this feel different. So I think that's the first one I'll say.
Yeah, the house party was a really cute scene. All in all,
Yeah.
The house party, the brawl, the tacos after the brawl. Yeah,
yeah.
The keep up moment.
Keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was really a low blow. Really.
Well, and the flashback scene in 7 also got me. The callback with keep up, all good.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure talking with you. And yeah, I give the links of all the interview if you want to the PR team. And yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Hopefully I'll see Dispatch 2 in a couple of years, maybe.
I'm gonna take a break first, but yeah, we'll get right on it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks so much,
Thank
Lorenzo.
you very much for your time.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. Yeah.